Hi, I hope you can hear me. Money Date and Anna is here. I'm excited for tonight's conversation, and we need to chat about how to give cash if that's what you planned in terms of gifts. But I've got some creative ideas for you, so tune in and let's get this conversation started. As you hop on, make sure you say hello in the chat, because that's the only way I know you're here, and then I can properly greet you. Now, I hope you are ready for holidays. It is about 3 weeks until Christmas, maybe a little less. And so the holiday atmosphere is around, but we still have a lot of work to do. Now, Money Dates are about our finances. And I'm playing, actually, I found, this is my new favorite song, by the way. I put the name of it in the title of the show. It's by Mona Mind, so I hope you can hear it a little bit in the background. Okay, so Money Dates, why are we here? I think holidays are particularly important in terms of staying on track, because there's a lot going on. Everyone is overwhelmed. Hi Leslie, good to have you. Thanks so much for hopping on. Hi Greg. So I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things before we get into the actual planned topic. But Money Date. Now, for those of you who are coming here for the first time, I'll explain to you what it means. It's a hi Chris, thanks for hopping on. So a Money Date is a time that you dedicate for yourself, okay? To take a look and see where you are in terms of your finances, right? And there are 3 things that I propose that we track. Hi, Eleanor. Thanks for hopping on. That we track for ourselves, because those 3 important items comprise the whole financial planning picture, one way or the other. We can talk about complex investments here. Bitcoin, right? It's all over the news. But if you can't understand where your income is coming from, if you can't understand where your money's going and where you're spending it, and if you don't have savings goals, Bitcoin is not going to help you. The next hot stock investment is not going to help you. None of that. The next real estate investment that somebody says you're supposed to invest is not going to help you, because the baseline of your financial plan is not put together. It's not cohesive. It's not a solid foundation. So I come here every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific just to remind you that you've got to have those basic things in place, okay? You need to know where your income is coming from. If you have various and multiple streams, if you're getting a paycheck, if you maybe particularly already investing in real estate investments or whatever it is, but you have to understand where all of that is coming from. Now, Money Date came out of my own frustrations. I'm a financial planner by training. That's what I do all day long for other people, but I had to figure out a system for myself. Hi, Alexi. Thanks for hopping on. Good to have you guys here. So I want you just to remind every week, right? Because if you break it into smaller pieces, because a lot of times we just feel overwhelmed. If you just break it into smaller pieces and give yourself time to sit back and assess where you're going and where you are, then it's much easier to catch those mistakes, right? So you don't have to wait until the end of the month and realize that something was happening. So that's what I would like to keep as a theme for all of our Money Dates, right? But it's also we've got to move past that, right? That is never going to change for any of us. The older you get, or if you're just starting out, the more money you make, the less money you make, the more debt you have. All of those pieces have to come together in order for you to make smart financial decisions, right? So that you can keep your money, you can keep multiplying it, and you can hopefully earn more. Now, what I want to talk to you about, thanks, Chris. Hi, Alexi. Hi, Eleanor. So what I want to talk to you about now, since this is a holiday season, everybody is kind of focused, even a lot of my clients are kind of focused on, okay, we don't want to do any more planning, sort of done for the year. Let's focus on family time and spending some of our hard-earned dollars on various gifts and things like that. So last week I talked about how can you give gifts without actually even having to buy a gift wrap, okay? Now, today, I want to talk to you with some creative ways how you can actually give cash to someone, right? And so perhaps you had saved up money and you've earned, and you want to actually do those kinds of gifts. So I have some ideas for you. But before I get started, I want you to pause, okay? And I want you to reflect back on your week and think about what is there one thing that happened to you, right? Or what was one exciting piece in the last 7 days? And try to think about it from the terms of from just how it's relating to your finances. I know some of you had misfortunes and it may have not been the best week, but think what the positive side of that is. So for just a quick 10-15 seconds, reflect back and think to yourself, what was that one exciting piece and how does that relate to your finances? Because I always tell you that anything you do in life, any decisions you make are going to involve money. You can argue with me on that, but I can show you 1,000 ways that you can't even leave your house without needing money. So one of the, and I call this position a money win. So my money win for the week is that I've been featured on a podcast, been interviewed on a podcast, and I shared it on my Facebook page for one of very admired influencers in my industry. And so I've been overwhelmed. The podcast was released yesterday, and I honestly been overwhelmed with the amount of feedback I received from my colleagues. Right, I have not told anyone, right, because I knew that once they saw it, once they listened to it, I was gonna get a whole bunch of emails. So I'm feeling extremely proud because it's a pretty prestigious podcast and has huge fellowship of various people. And so actually an interesting point came out of that a couple of hours later after the podcast was released. And this is Podcast for Financial Advisors, so this is not even focused on consumers. I got a call from a prospective client. So when you pause and think about the power of social media, the power of online world, this one alone is just mind-boggling. So I'm extremely proud of that. Hi, Diana. Thanks for hopping on. So that's my money win. How does that relate to my finances? I don't know yet, but it certainly progresses and moves me forward in my career. All right. Now, I want to get into the overall topic with you guys, but as you're hopping on, make sure you drop something in the chat, a comment, an emoji. And by the way, if you find this helpful, please share it out, okay? Let other people know what you thought was particularly interesting in this conversation, okay? Now, so here are some creative ways of how you can give cash. Now, let me remind you that a gift of cash is something that's never gonna get spoiled, right? It's never gonna get old. It's never gonna go out of style. And I guarantee you that someone who's going to receive that gift of cash is never going to return it because they always need it. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for hopping on. So, but yet, there are always creative ways how you can give somebody a gift of cash without necessarily having to put, $20 or $50 bills in an envelope, right? What if that person is across the country, like most of my family members? So I can't quite give them cash. So here's my tip number one, okay? Have you guys ever used those online transfer apps? So I'm talking about Venmo. I've got a couple here. PayPal. I've got actually Square Cash. And then Google Wallet. I mean, there's a couple more than that, but these are the top ones. So for example, if you wanted to give somebody a $25 gift, you just load up into an app, it's connected to your checking account, and then you just send a transfer. It works like a charm. I use Venmo and Square Cash. So both of them are pretty awesome to use and easy. Now, that's quite different if you actually want to transfer a large amount and if you're using credit cards versus the actual bank account or debit card. So be on the lookout that there are more fees when you're using a credit card, okay? So that's tip number one, Number two, the gold old-fashioned gift cards, okay, right? So think about that. You can buy a gift card online these days. You don't even have to go to the store. But what I found to be the most useful is a gift card that, for example, can be from Amazon, right? I buy a ton of stuff on Amazon. If I can have an unlimited gift card for Amazon, that's just not a problem. Now, you've got to be careful too, because certain gift cards, and actually just spent one the other day, I had a $100 Visit gift card, but a lot of times those gift cards have also fees associated with them, right? So it's like $4.99 on $100. So yes, it's I call that as a convenience fee. Yes, it's convenient in terms of being able to gift somebody that amount, but you've got to be on the lookout. Now, there are actually sites, like some people actually hate gift cards. I know, I've heard that. And so if you are that person, right, there are sites that actually will buy back your gift cards, okay? Yes, it's for less money, but at least you can get rid of them. So my tip number 3, in terms of how you can give cash to somebody, are more creative ways, right? Because this is a money show, so we've got to slip in that kind of idea here. So I am talking about 529 college savings plans, okay? Now, so you might be wondering how all of that works and how can somebody like me give money into a 529 college savings plan, okay? Now, for those of you who have kids, right? And for those of you who have maybe grandkids and wanting to save for them for their higher education, undergrad or grad school, and I look at that gift as something that's going to keep on giving. It's not just a Christmas gift or birthday gift. So a couple of ways how that works. First of all, for anyone, you can just open up a 529 college savings account, okay? You have to have a beneficiary or somebody who's designated to be using that account. So it's very simple when you're a parent and you're opening an account for your kid, right? You just make them, you are the account holder and they're the beneficiary, and so that's how the account is set up. Now, if you're gifting just a gift, right? If you know, for example, that your friend has a 529 account open, there's a couple of ways. You can directly contribute money to that particular plan, so you just need to find out the details, where the plan is at, right? And you can go on their website and there are specific instructions how you can do that. Now, if you're doing the contributions yourself, right, or if you're a grandparent and I would probably recommend you opening an account in your own name so that you can benefit from tax deductions, because you got to remember, a lot of 529 plans, right, and there's a 529 plan pretty much in every state. Not every state, though, has the tax deduction. So if you're looking for those kinds of savings, then you need to assess whether the state that you live in, and I'll give you examples. California does not offer a state income tax deduction, but Maryland, DC, and Virginia, where we also operate, where I have lots of clients, they actually do. So it is advantageous to use 529 plans in each of those particular states. Now, I feel like with this kind of gift, you give in something that people can use, it keeps on giving, and then maybe you can also benefit from deducting some of it on your tax return. Now, don't get too excited, because we are in the midst of having our new tax plan being approved, right? So we're all sort of sitting on sidelines and waiting to see what happens. So I urge you to make those decisions based on the current data, so we know what's happening today. And as of today, because there's a lot of changes coming in our tax code and our tax law, so I propose that we make decisions, particularly when it has to do with tax savings, around the data that we have today, around the laws that exist today. Okay, so far I have not heard that any of the changes that are being proposed are going to be retroactive. So all we have to do is look forward. Now, 529 college savings plans are a great way, right? Not only give the cash, but it's also a great way to help somebody get the education that is going to, keep on giving, as I think of it. Now, One of the other ways that I think would be beneficial too, right, instead of just giving somebody $20 bills is to buy savings bonds, okay? Now, I feel like this is a less popular type of gift because a lot of us are, again, as Bitcoin being sort of the hot topic these days, right? Savings bonds don't seem to be as attractive these days. But you got to remember, right, these kinds of investments, so it's an investment type of a gift, they pay an interest rate that is gonna be guaranteed to keep up with inflation. So we're not talking about a whole lot of money that you're gonna earn, but it's something that is gonna keep growing. So if you give somebody a gift, so now these kinds of bonds are sold in $25 increments, okay? So you can buy $25, $50, and so on. Now, it's a bit more, I found it to be more, less challenging than some people think. You actually used to be able to buy paper bonds, right? Like you can go to the bank and get them. Now you actually have to go to treasurydirect.com and set up an account. I find that to be much easier because you can do it from anywhere. So if you found yourself wanting to give a smart gift, right? I also want to call these last two tips are your smart gifts. So, but the neat feature of this too, actually, I think what I like the most is that you cannot cash them for a year. So it's like, you know how sometimes you get a gift and it's even a gift card or it's cash, it just disappears. You never feel like it was something worth keeping. So I thought that this was an interesting way to make that gift create a lasting memory, because at the end of the day, right, that's what we want. We want to create a gift and a memory. We're going to give a gift and create a memory that's going to hopefully last a long time. So those are my tips. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you've came up with a couple of ways other than what I have on my list to give cash these days. Of course, you can always put lots of dollar bills in an envelope and slip it under the Christmas tree, and hopefully it will still be there when you go look for it. But before I close, I want to share a quote with you, and it's an interesting one because I always advocate for creating experiences and memories around gifts and times we spend with people. And so a quote is, "Wealth is the ability to fully experience life." So it doesn't have to be around, it doesn't have to always include your finances, right? Because experiencing life isn't always about money, but we need it, right? In order to experience a lot of what our life has to offer. So I challenge you, right, as you go on into the next week and until we meet again next Wednesday, I challenge you to step back, right? I challenge you to reflect and take a pause and see where you are, okay? We also are coming on to the end of the year, and you won't believe how many New Year's resolutions I see people make around their finances. And then what happens in February, March, and by the time April rolls around, they're all gone. So don't do that, right? If you've got some things that you're really working on or want to work on for 2018, this is the time to do that. So set up yourself for success, because again, holidays are gonna get carried away for everybody. But if you really want it, I know you can do it. Thanks for joining me. My name is Anna, and I welcome you to the Money Date. Have a fantastic week, and let me know. Let me know in the comments what you found useful in this discussion, and please share it out. Thanks for tuning in.